Welcome to Blue Collar Crypto, hosted by Tim Tarosian. My name is Sue Roscoff, and we are here with the World of Ability Network. And I'm pleased to introduce to you your host today with Blue Collar Crypto, Tim Tarosian. Tim, over to you.
Well, hello. I try and lead with the most important stuff I can lead with, and whatever I find out, I try and pass it along. What might that be, you ask? You know, what's the most important thing? And that this show should show you at this time. And okay, so I'm not technologically contrary. I'm not. There's a subject. There's a business model. I call it a business model. It's called a franchise, right? So I'm not an expert on franchises. I have purchased distributorship, but it wasn't a franchise. It was just distributing a product, and I could collect my my profit from that. But I was taught some things in my first experience, and I encourage you to get your first experience, because your goal is to make money. And I can't tell you that making money is not important. You know, that's foolishness, right? But when I say but, right? You're gonna somehow start a business somewhere, somehow, in some form, some fashion. Try and make some money. So what are the things that you might learn along the way? And a wise man told me, a businessman, he says, you want to pay your salesman, you want to pay them as much as you can. The product. Now, you've got the product and you're the salesman. Well, guess what? You can hire a salesman. Well, I get to stay at home and I could just pay somebody to sell the product for me. What the heck? Why am I going out there selling it? Just give them a big fat cut of the profits of the product. You know, hike the price of the product up. So the wise man told me, a man who owned a pizza company, right? A frozen pizza company. He said, the most important thing is you give your salesperson a lot of money, a lot of the profit. Give him as much profit as you can. That's going to motivate him to hustle. And they're out there. There's good salesmen out there. And you give them as much as you can, because that's going to pad your bottom line. You're going to get a percentage of this. Why not let them go out there and sell the product for you? So let's draw a picture. I'm going to try the best I can to draw you a picture of how something is sold. How is something sold? Does it just show up on your Target, you know, Walmart shelf, and it just magically appears there? How does it get to the grocery store, the convenience store? How does it magically appear? How does it get to you all put together and ready to buy, and comes with a warranty or guarantee? Or so here's this called a distribution channel. Let's call it, I don't know, It, in some cases, it starts in China. It made in China. Well, there is a place called China. So the product gets shipped perhaps by boat or by plane. It's cheaper by boat, I understand, to get the product shipped. So that's number one. Let's call that China. It could be any country, but let's call it China. Number one, let's say it crosses borders, or let's say it's just manufactured here. Well, we can't call that China. Let's just call it United States. Let's call it the manufacturer, right? So from the manufacturer, that's a step one. They're actually making what is sold. Well, you don't generally go to the factory and buy something there. From there, it goes to a distributor. So I'll put that in a chat, right? Okay. Manufacturer. And then how about shipping? Let's not forget about shipping. How important is shipping? If it's in a different country, it's made there, it has to be shipped. So then let's say distributor, right? Now this is the person, this is the product, the place where the product gets shipped to, the distributor. The distributor sells it to Target and Walmart and Costco, but before that, there might be a salesman, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4. Manufacturing, shipping, distributor, salesman. Everybody gets their cut, right? Everybody gets something. Nobody works for free, right? So, okay. So where does that leave you and I? Who are we, right? Well, we're not there yet, right? The salesman sells it to a store. Let's call it a store. In which case, that might be Walmart, Target, I don't know, a clothing store. Okay, so what's that? 1, 2, 3, 4. Holy cow. 5 different. Who's the last person to get this? How about you and I, the customer, right? And we're like, how is this changing, right? Well, Amazon might change this a little bit. They seem to have streamlined it a little bit, but somehow it still starts someplace and ends up someplace else, and it gets shipped to your door. So there's some shipping right there. Amazon, they do some of their shipping. Sometimes they hire a shipping company. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Holy cow! I got 6 distribution. Distributor, 6 distributor channels. Let's call them channels. That's what it takes to get it to the customer. Maybe more. Who knows? But everybody's got to add their price on it. Even if you're growing crops in the field, you still have to go get the seed. There still has to be some labor involved. It has to rain. Those are steps to getting the crop. You know, you have to go to the bank to get a loan sometimes because there's nothing left over from the year before. So when you're trying to pick a business, pay the salesman, right? Let's not forget that. Pay the salesman. And then who is the salesman, right? Who is the salesman? Okay. Who is the salesman? Let's call this show, let's name this show, Who is the Salesman? That's the name of this particular show. And after we name it, we're going to try and change subjects, right? Because we can change it one time. So, pay the salesman. Who is a salesman? What kind of business do you have, and who is in charge of sales? And how are you compensating the salesman? Because just a minute ago I said your success will be your success will be in how you compensate that salesman. How do you keep them interested? Do you give them bonuses, or as long as you're paying the salesman, however you get the money, even if you can't afford to pay him, he's going to keep your business going. He's happy. He's getting paid, and he gets to pay for rent and food and take care of his family and his brand new car, and keep paying him. He'll keep working. Wow, what a great deal. The American dream. Go find a salesman, and he will take care of you. And I say literally, but we overuse the word literally. So the salesman will take care of your business. When you're not there, the salesman's the boss. He's in charge. He will safekeep your interests. He's a great deal. He's a great asset. The salesman is, right? What if everybody had a salesman? Oh boy, everybody has a salesman. Am I right or wrong? If you're married, isn't your wife your salesman, right? I mean, think about it. If you're going to school, who's the salesman? Who is the salesman? Maybe the teacher is a salesman at school. The operation doesn't run without the teacher. Who is playing baseball? Who's the salesman? Maybe the coach? What can't we do without? In the equation, what we can't do without, that's a salesman. And take care of your salesman. Because the more salesmen you have, the more wealthy you'll be. The better your company will do. So let's go ahead and change the subject, because I'll keep this under 30 minutes. And we'll repeat it in the next podcast. Let's look at franchises for a minute. How do we do this? I found a way, right? Fran Data. I'm going to type that in the chat here. Fran Data. Okay. Fran Data. F-R-A-N. Okay, what is Fran Data? I typed it in twice. It is 7,000 franchises. And they're actually FDD. Franchise disclosure documents. Okay, so Fran Data, here I'm going to type it all together. Fran Data, 7,000. 7,000 franchise disclosure documents. Okay. Now, what is the significance of this, right? So if I told you, go look at 30 franchises, you'd be like, well, okay, that's great. But God, I sure would like to look at 7,000 of them, right? So here's a place where you can look at 7,000 franchise disclosure documents. Why? Not to bore you to tears, but first of all, you can't afford them, right? They're $200 a piece. That's times 7,000 is what? $200,000 to look through all these? So, no, right? We want to do is look at the name of the franchise disclosure document. It's listed in this on the site, right? We take the name and we put the name of the franchise. Let's call it, for instance, Firehouse Subs. They have a franchise. So you find their disclosure document, which costs $200, right? But you know what the name of it is. So you just type in Firehouse Subs in the Google box. Google. In all fairness, I'm going to type that in because I don't know that you understand when I say Google, when you can understand. Okay, my vernacular. Okay. So you go to Google, you put Firehouse Subs in the Google box, and you find out what the deal is, right? What is it? What is Firehouse Subs all about, right? Let me type that in, right? Firehouse Subs. Okay. You do this 7,000 times. Now, really, you heard me correctly, right? Did you hear that? Google 7,000 times. Just scroll through all these documents and see which ones appeal to you. Out of 7,000, you're likely to find an idea. Are you going to go with that franchise? Maybe not, but you can go with the franchise, or you could just take their idea from them and duplicate it. And if you don't like copying somebody's idea because it's dishonest, then so what? You know, life is short. You know, go ahead and copy it. Okay? I mean, let them come after you. Have a little fun. Get an idea. What kind of franchise would you like to have? If not, what kind of franchise idea appeals to you? What kind of boss do you want to be, and what kind of business model does that franchise represent? And that's the end of my show. 7,000 franchises. 7,000. You know? Hey, can you find a business idea in 7,000 ideas? Go for it. Good luck. And that's the end of my show. I'll see you in the next.
And that is Tim Tarosian, host of Blue Collar Crypto. Thank you, as always, to Tim being here every Sunday at 4 p.m. and 6 p.m. Central. Thanks to our distribution partners, Jay Stoyan with the Disability Channel out of Toronto, Ontario, Canada, Marcus Hart of Transform You Media, Zach Clayton of the Pact Channel, Lawrence Wingate of Wingate TV by Wingate Studios, and also want to thank Nonprofit TV for their support through their Facebook campaign. Again, my name is Sue Roskoff with World of Ability Network, and thanks again to Tim Tarosian, host of Blue Collar Crypto. See you next time.